If you're trying to hold people accountable without making them feel uncomfortable, you're most likely losing the battle. It's not because you're being mean, but by nature, accountability makes people uncomfortable. That's just what happens. Most people don't like it when someone's telling them that they need to improve on something. It's not a happy feeling. People don't get all fuzzy inside. They get anxious and nervous. But this is a thing. If you don't hold people accountable, people are gonna know that you're a crappy leader because you're gonna have a reputation of being a pushover. Your top performers are gonna wanna give up because they're gonna be frustrated. And your low performers are gonna love you because they get away with everything. So you've gotta decide what kind of leader you wanna be. Do you want people to succeed, or do you wanna turn a blind eye to bad performers? In my role in HR for over 25 years, I frequently have had to hold people accountable. This one particular situation, I had a direct report who seemed to be good at their job, and I inherited. And so we always find sometimes when we inherit someone that we, as leaders, will say, we've inherited a problem. However, being in HR, I want to believe that people can do good things. You want to have the benefit of the doubt that they were hired to do a job, so they must be good at it somehow. So I took the opportunity to do a performance improvement plan with this individual. And from the get-go, of course, they had their backup. And I had so much documentation. I had been reviewing things, emails, customer information. I had pages and pages of information because I wanted to be fair to them, to show them where their deficiencies were. But of course, like I said on the very first conversation, they had their backup. And they just disagreed, 100% disagreed, because I was the new leader, so I was the problem, since they had never been written up previous to me, right? So of course time passes, and I kept having to explain to this person every time we met for a progress report that I'm actually here to help them, and I want to set them up for success, but they are gonna have to meet me halfway. And so after our performance improvement plan, that took about 8 months or so, finally the individual realized that they did have deficiencies and they wanted to improve, and they said they were committed to, and I was great, I'm happy to do that. I just need them to do the job that they were hired to do. So luckily it turned out okay after about 8 months, but it was still a strenuous 8 months going back and forth, trying to document and have progress reports every 30 days or so. At the end of the day, our job again as leaders is to set people up for success, but it's not fair if we're not being straightforward with them, right? My name is Jose LP, and for over 25 years now, I've been helping managers and leaders feel comfortable with those uncomfortable conversations. So I have a couple tips for you, things that I've used in my 25 years that have really worked efficiently, and I've actually recommended these to many of the leaders and managers that I help coach. The first one that I'm going to review today is very much of what I talked about in my story, is number 1, documentation. Now, being in HR, we always talk about how you have to document, but I have to tell you that we never seem to have enough documentation. Many leaders and managers think that documentation is just their own notes on file and not really having conversations or not facts, They don't realize that it's got to be tangible with a date, timestamp, a video, maybe someone witnessed the conversation or the situation. It really has to be something that you can go back to an employee and said, on December 21st at 5 o'clock, you did XYZ. It's just fair to the employee that when you are documenting them, you're very specific, because at the end of the day, our job is to help people, right? And in order to help them, they need to know what they can improve on. And in order for them to know what they have to improve on, we have to be specific. So like I said, documentation has to be very specific. So that was my number 1. However, if you want more specifics on documenting and how to document, what things to document, etc., please make sure that you click the link below and get the free guide. The second tip that I'd like to give to you related to managing your team and holding them accountable is setting expectations. A lot of managers feel that when you're setting expectations, you have to negotiate with your employee on what that expectation is. That's not true. There's no negotiation. If you have an employee handbook, you have a policy, you have an employment agreement, you have something in your organization that you're referencing for what those expectations are, whether it's an audit sheet. I mean, there's a long list of different things that they could be. You don't need to negotiate what the expectations are because you would have provided those things to your employee upon hire. You would have provided them with the employee handbook. You would have provided them with all the policies, with an employment agreement that list out things, right? So now you're just trying to hold the person accountable according to what those documents are. So there really is no negotiating. This is not a performance review where people think that there's negotiation. Performance reviews and performance management are two completely different things. And holding people accountable, you can do that also on a performance review. But right now we're not talking about performance reviews. We're talking about performance improvement plans, which are conversations that you're going to hold people accountable, and obviously documentation with write-ups. So like I said, our second tip today was setting expectations and make sure that it's not negotiating. For more tips on setting expectations, don't forget to check out that guide below. And my third and final one for holding people accountable today is celebrate your small wins. Once you've done your meetings with people and you're having those progress reports, you have already set out all your expectations, I believe that your employee is probably gonna want to adjust their behavior or their work ethic or whatever it is that you've asked them to do. And so when they do make little tiny adjustments, celebrate it. You're really reinforcing good behavior, right? And so when you're reinforcing that good behavior, people are gonna want to continue the good behavior. It's also just a human nature thing that employees want to be liked by their leader and they want to feel appreciated by their leader and by their manager. So don't forget to celebrate those small wins. And for your full guide on all of these tips, don't forget to click the link below. Look forward to seeing you on my next video. Thank you.